This is Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher, back for another cross-stitching update. It's been a week since my last video, and I am here to show you what I have worked on the last week, what I've been up to. I feel like my pile here is really small, but I know I was really busy, so I'm wondering where's all the things that I did. But I knew last week was going to be a really busy week, and it was, but I still managed to get some things worked on, and I did some sewing as well. I did a lot of sewing last week, actually. So let's start with my whips. I have no finishes, and I have 3 whips that I got. Well, I have, okay, 2 of them were new starts, but they're all whips now. And some of them have a lot of progress on them, and I'm really excited to show you. So first, just because it's sitting here on the top of my pile, last night was my last day of work for the weekend, so I did work all weekend, and last night I got home and I was just really tired after dinner, and I didn't even stitch the day before, but I wanted to stitch, but I didn't have the brain energy for anything more than fill-in, and none of the projects I had downstairs were fill-in, so I grabbed Ghoul Tide Welcome, and I just did white. I just did white. It's not very much. I only had a couple of an hour maybe. And so I started to hear about the G, just did all the white. This is a really big project. I'm stitching this on the called for 36 count Lakeside Linen Vintage Sand Dune. This one, I do want it to come out again later, probably September time it will come out as one of my whips I keep out all week, but I'm just not, I have been stitching Halloween, but I'm just not in the mood for my big Halloween ones yet. And I don't want to burn out on Halloween too soon. I did that last year, and by the time it was October, I didn't want to stitch on anything Halloween. So I'm going to put that one away until probably next month. And then I did have a new start. Get my iPad. Really? I had showed in my last video that I planned to start, let me try to brighten this up, maybe. Oh my gosh, why does this always happen to me? October 31st by Kathy Barrick with the NPIs. I have the NPIs here. They're so pretty. On the green, and I did get it started. I started at the bottom. This is just a small scrap cut off of the bigger chunk that I have. This is XG Designs Oil Green. I stitched this while watching a movie. I'm trying to remember what the movie is called. Oh, it was a new Netflix release called My Oxford Year with, I think her name was Sophia Carson, and then I can't remember the guy's name, but he played King George in the Netflix series Queen Charlotte. And it was like a rom-com. I think it was based off of a young adult book. And it was cute. I thought it was cute. I've heard a lot of people, complaining about that it was really stupid or whatever, but I like cheesy movies like that sometimes, and it definitely was cheesy, and it was definitely a young adult book turned into a movie, but I watched the whole thing and I liked it, and I thought it was cute, and it was cozy, and it reminded me of like Hallmark Christmas movies. So I stitched this while I watched that. I didn't realize that the key, like, I don't think they intended it to look like a cat's face, but it looks like a cat to me. I don't know. Maybe they did intend it that way. But so I got started on that one. It's really early here. And when I say really early, I mean it's not yet 10 o'clock, but I don't usually film these until the afternoon, but I have a lot to do today. So I knew if this was gonna get filmed at all, I had to do it earlier. And my kids are entertaining themselves right now. So I feel like I have sleepy voice and sleepy face. Okay. So the other whip I worked on that I'm just so excited with how much progress I was able to get on her is Ann Morrison. She was the hats chart I was going to keep out all week. And I did. And I stitched so much on her. Let me see if I can get a board so you can really see her. I don't have any clips though. I'm stitching her on 46 count porcelain from Lakeside Linens. And this is where she is. I got so much done on her. So last time you saw her, she was about to here. I had done this little swirly A and the 3 bricks above, and that's it. So I added all these borders. There are clovers that go in here. They look like unmentionables right now. So I added all these borders, and I completed this top band, just not this little section. I wanted to get all the way to the top, and then I brought this all the way down. So I have the full outline of the chart now. She's not that big, but she is mighty. There's a lot of stitching in here. And then I did these 2 hearts, and then I did this whole eyelet heart. See if I can get it up close without it blurring. Look how pretty. Doing that eyelet heart was so much fun. I loved it. And I just did 8 leg eyelets on there, not the 16. This is the 16 down here. They just look too bulky, so I just did 8, and I think it looks just fine. So one thing I did find interesting while stitching this is when you look at the chart, sorry, my iPad's doing something freaky. When you look at the chart, you see so much pink. It was like when I looked at the cover, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of pink. But all the pink is down here. It's all down here. There's like no pink in this whole, like there might be 1 or 2 little pink letters. I don't know yet. There's 2 pinkish letters right here. But like this whole top section, there's no pink at all. And so I kept stitching each border, and I was like, where's all the pink? There's none. And I just thought that was interesting. Your eye just goes here, which, I mean, that's the best part of the chart. So I really loved stitching on her and giving her so much time. It's fun when you have a project out for that long just to see how much you can actually do when you keep one out for more than a day or 2. So that was fun. And then the last project I worked on was I restarted Stay True, which was the exclusive release from Brenda Gervais at the Amana Farm Girl Retreat. I restarted it on 40 count, oh geez, what's this hair? 40 count Old Sheep from X Jude. This board's not quite big enough. And I have an issue with this, which is unfortunate, but here is my start on her. So I started here in this corner, and I went up a little on the border just so I could get my edge here. And then I was going along the border, and I made it all the way up to the other corner. And then I was like, okay, I'm sick of green, sick of border. I had done a lot of borders on Anne. So I was like, I'm gonna start on some of these motifs. So I did this flower and these 2 flowers and this cute little prairie girl. Oh, it's just like the cutest thing. I did these 2 little reindeers, and this flower pot has eyelets. All the flowers are eyelets. And then I came here to do right here is a pair of bee skeps. You can see at the bottom, right in the center of the two prairie girls is a pair of bee skips. So I got to doing those and I'm like, something's not right. And I realized this border is very irregular. It is not even. It is a tricky, finicky border. Because if you see, there's this many of those little doodads, and then there's this many, and then there's this many. And I mean, there's this many, and then there's this many, and then there's this many. It's very uneven. You can't like just go. You have to constantly be checking the chart. And I was double and triple checking my counting, but the page breaks really throw me off sometimes. And so I'm doing the bee skip and I realize I only did 4 of these little doodads instead of 5. So all this is like 6 stitches off. Back to border trauma. People, why? Oh, so I just went up here and I ripped out and I re-stitched and I got this established where it's supposed to be. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to rip as I go. I'm just going to rip it out as I go. I'll rip out a little chunk, re-stitch it, do the motif. Why does this keep happening to me? It's the dang page breaks. They're like in the worst spots, I swear. If you can hear that, that's my stomach growling. Sorry. So, because there's a page break like right here. Right here. And there's a page break right in this area. And it's just like the most inconvenient for counting spot. So, all that on the side is wrong. But we're not going to throw her away because this is the fabric. I think it's perfect. And I love how this is all turning out. So we're just going to rip it as we go. Are we okay? It's just really inconvenient and annoying. And it'll just take me, a few minutes to rip it out, to restitch it, and then go with the new motif. But anyways, she's a good size, but this is fitting. So X Jute's fat quarters, at least they're usually 19 inches on the shortest side. So I was able to fit this on a just slightly bigger than an 1/8. So I have a good chunk. I had a good chunk of fabric left after I cut. So yeah, there's that. With all of its issues, but it's still really pretty. I'm not gonna let it deter me. When the borders get you down, Okay. So that is everything I worked on the last week. Don't want this to die. So, well, I did do some sewing. Thank you everyone who bought a bag from me. My bag dropped last week. Those are going out today. And I have cut a bunch of Halloween fabrics to do next. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll have some Halloween ones to release. And then so you saw my Halloween table runner that I finished last week. Well, a few days later, I decided if I was gonna take table runner to my quilter lady anyways this week, I was gonna bring her too. Didn't snip any of these threads. So I made a fall table runner. It's just as simple. So I didn't have a pattern. I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. So I just kind of pieced and cut, and the inside turned into a little pinwheel, which is fun. And the outsides are just kind of like diamonds. And it's the nice big square, which is the shape that I wanted. I thought it turned out really cute, and I need to pick out what quilting I want to do on it. I'm thinking like leaves maybe would be really pretty. This was made in the fabric line Pumpkin Spice Gathering from Primitive Gatherings. So it's really pretty. I'm really happy with that. I'm excited to be able to decorate with 2 new table runners. this year. I've got to get those out to my quilter this week. Okay, I do have a little bit of haul. Yvette, I'm not sure what her Instagram handle is, but I swear there's like 58 Flosstubers that talk about Yvette. She was destashing a lot of her Lakeside linens in 36 count, and while I told myself no more 36 count this year, Lakeside linens, and then she had some colors that I just like I've never seen or I've never, you know, seen available, so I snatched them up. I got Lakeside linen 36 count vintage tundra, which is this beautiful gray green color. I'd never seen this one before. Oh, I love it. You could put anything on that. And then I also got 36 count vintage pearl barley. Isn't that pretty? I've seen a few other people stitch on this color before, and I've never seen it available. Ooh, it's so pretty. I love it. Love it. And then I also got 36 count vintage cedar plank, which is this pretty gray tone. Tara, who is Sully Stitches, she stitched the Santa from With Thy Needle and Thread, the Santa that's standing in the cottage. I have the chart, I just cannot remember what it's called. She stitched that on this, and I loved it. Hers is on 40 count, but I loved the fabric when I saw it. I don't know if hers is vintage or if hers is just the regular, but it's really pretty. And then she so sweetly sent me a bunch of Dinky Dye's silks to add to my Dinky Dye collection. Thank you, Yvette. Okay, so plans. I was going through my whips trying to decide what are my next projects that I'm going to keep out for the week. I don't have to work this weekend, so I'll have, you know, a lot of stitching time this week, and I'll either switch my projects mid-weekend or keep going on them through the weekend. It just depends on if I'm sick of them at that point, how I feel. So I haven't exactly chosen the projects that I'm keeping down, but these are the ones that are on my mind. The first one is A Shepherd's Song from Plum Street. I'm stitching this on 40 count Tekla from Tropical Stitches with a Vicki Clayton silk conversion. This is where I am on it. I've been thinking about, look at all this fabric I wasted on it, you guys. It really bugs me when I look at it. But I've been thinking about this project, about establishing the border, getting the border all finished around and getting it like its defined edges. I like that on the project. I like having the defined edges. It makes it feel like, oh, this project is doable. I can see the edges. It's clear. Here it is. So this one's on my mind. Also, I would like to get more done on my red sampler, which is Mary Cornwall. I'm stitching this with Audrey, who's Stitch Bead. This is what it looks like right now. I finally got all the excess fabric cut off. So I'm thinking about having this one be my small that stays out all week, because I would like to get more done on it. Oh, I'm stitching that on 46 count Subdued Creme Brulee from Tabby Cat. Another project that I have been thinking about, I only have the PDF for this one. I have not stitched on it since I started it in May for Mother's Day. And that is Mary Bovey from Stacy Nash. I'm doing this in a color conversion from Stash. Stitching it on 36 count Latte from Fiber and Whim. And this is where it is. Again, another one that I'd love to get definitive edges on. It's not that big. It's not a huge chart. These are my colors. Lots of color and cottons. So that one's also on my mind. And you guys will never believe it, but the other one that's been on my mind and my heart is Maria. My Maria. I sing that song, that Alan Jackson song, every single time I think of this chart. My Maria Ewan. I love her. I have been really sad that I have such a huge mistake in the border. I was talking with Leah Noel, who is Rhubarb Patch Studio. I have to keep remembering she has a different name. You guys know this is the one that's given me so much border trauma. She's big, she's beautiful. I have a huge error. But Leah Noel is giving me some encouragement and inspiration on where I can fix the border without ripping out so much. So she suggested ripping out until here and fixing the border here, just extending it, and but starting from here where it's correct and then fixing it over here, because it'll be hidden decently here in the corner, and then the bottom will be off a stitch, but because this pattern is so symmetrical all the way throughout, I'll hold up the because it's so symmetrical, everything mirrors, that she thinks you won't even notice that this is off down here, and you won't notice that it's off in the corner because your eye goes here. So I'm going to try. Send me all of your good vibes, your good luck. But I'm going to try seeing how that works and how I feel about it. And maybe working on the flowers up here and down here, getting them finished all the way across so I can actually see, like, this is what we're working with, kind of a thing. So, I mean, I've been thinking about her since I made the mistake. So I'm going to attempt a repair. So those are the projects I have been thinking about. We'll do some shows and a little life. So last week we had a very busy week. We had the kids all had their doctor's appointments, and then we went shoe shopping with my mom. She buys the kids' school shoes every year, which is so amazing and so helpful when it comes to back to school and all the things. And after we went shoe shopping, we went to do school supplies, and we got all those done. That's my least favorite part of school shopping, is the dang supplies. And then Thursday, we met with one of our friends and her kids at Walmart to start some school clothes shopping together. Two of our girls are little besties, so we've done a lot with them this whole summer. We started school clothes there, and then we went over to the mall that we have here in town. Well, it's in town, it's 30 minutes from me, but we went to the mall and I think we just did Old Navy. We found a lot of good stuff at Old Navy this year. So, and then we had lunch at the mall, and then our mall is attached to Barnes & Noble. So we treated our mother selves for all the work we did this week and went to the bookstore and picked out some books for ourselves. And I thought I would just show the books that I picked out for myself. I picked out this series by Shelby Morin. I've heard good things about these books, and they're a decent size. And so I was like, well, I'll just get this series and try it out. And then we swap books when we're finished. And then I did get myself this really fun bookmark. Look how pretty. Love that. So I haven't started them yet, but they are sitting on my nightstand ready to be read. That was the first time I bought a physical book in years. It's been years since I bought an actual book to read. I have been reading more from physical books lately just because I've been borrowing friends' books, and it's reigniting my love of reading, even though I do love reading on my Kindle. Okay, so shows. I think that's all we did. And then I worked this weekend and it was really hot and my farmer's tan is getting really bad because I'm working in, you know, shirts outside all day long. It was really hot this weekend. And yeah. So I don't work for the next 2 weeks, which is great. But shows. So My Oxford Years, the movie I watched, I already told you about that. We did start a new show. Maybe I talked about it in my last video. It's called Away on Netflix. It's like a astronaut show. They're supposedly the first people going to Mars. The commander of this crew is Hilary Swank. It's good. We're still watching it, but we just haven't had a lot of TV time. My husband took on a little side gig as well. That's been taking up his evenings this last week. So we just haven't had a lot of TV time together. But we're still watching that. I think we only have a couple episodes left. I've still been watching Virgin River. I know I was kind of on the fence with it in my last video. I was only a few episodes in, but I kept going and I'm glad that I did because I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm halfway through season 2 now. It's very cheesy, but it's like cozy. I don't know. It's just like cozy, cute, heartwarming kind of show. I really like it. I'll probably keep going on it until I'm done. I can't think of any other shows that I'm in the mood to watch right now. And that's about all I have the brain space and energy to do, right, is listen to simple, cozy shows. I do kind of want to watch some movies though. If you have similar kind of movie recommendations, drop them below. I would love to hear them. It's knocking on my door. So I will see you in my next video next week, hopefully with a lot of great progress on some of these projects. I hope you get all the stitching that you want, and I will see you in a week. Bye.